So today's video isn't about cars. Well, it is about cars, but virtual cars. I'm rebuilding my sim rig. The original one I built, it was actually the V2 version, I guess, but when I got my wheel, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, I built a sim rig. It was 4 Forza, stock G920 base, and made it look like the side off of my race car. I used the cockpit out of one of my old race cars. Well, in years time, it's gotten upgraded. The wheelbase has gotten a full-size wheel put on it. I've changed the seat, added a handbrake, and it's just taken abuse. I play 2-3 hours almost nightly or every other night, so I put a lot of time in on this thing, and after time, things just get worn down. So I've been wanting to build a new sim anyway, but I've been waiting until I could get enough money to get a new wheelbase, but the handbrake mount isn't working out very well, and my uncle gave me a dashboard out of a first generation Camaro, so thought about building one, finding a dash out of an E46, but this dash I think would be really cool. I'm just going to cut it up. It's rusted, so it's not worth anything. I'm going to cut it up, and don't really have a set plan as to how I'm going to put it on the sim rig yet. I'm going to use a lot of the parts off the current sim rig that are good. I built it out of wood years ago, but I am going to try to fabricate this dash onto it. Probably won't use the whole dash, but I'm going to try to use the dash and just see how it goes. Here's the current sim setup. It's wore out, it's old. The seat's nasty, but it works. Modded G920 needs upgraded. The handbrake needs redone, but it's actually breaking the sheet metal. This is a cockpit out of one of my old late models, and it actually has an old late model door on the side. So I think we'll redo it, and it's needed upgraded for a while now, so let's see what happens. Here's what I've got to upgrade the sim with. Old console, dashboard. Like I said, this dash is it's pretty rough. Might need a tip shot, but it's rotted all throughout the back. It wasn't worth anything. The supports in the back are all rotted out of it. It's a perfect candidate to cut up and put on a sim. Someone's already cut this piece out for another car, so I plan on cutting the back out, cutting all the rust off of it, and then I'm probably going to notch it and come down right along with the radio, where the radio housing is. I swear, like, the radio sets, the heater controls are here in a first generation. That's the glove box. I have a glove box lid that I could put back on it and use the whole thing, but it's just going to take up too much room. I don't need all that. So plan on just cutting here, taking that off, adding this console, might even cut it off depending on my length, and put my shifter, my handbrake, fabricate them in, and eventually I'll try to see if I can find like there's a chrome trim piece that goes around here, and on 67s it's black, on 68s it's a wood green. So I plan to I'd like to find the black piece out of a 67, might find an old vent at some point, the window switches, just find all the original stuff, put back in one, just to dress it up. It'd be cool if I could like make the radio work, but I'm not tremendously concerned, and but I think it'll be cool, something a little bit different. Like I said, I wanted to use a dash out of an E46, and I had one, but I was dumb and got rid of it because it was the factory one out of this car, and I was going to use the dash, do the same thing, cut it, use part of the console, which I still think would be really cool. But people have used BMW dashes. I've never seen a sim built out of a 67, 68 Camaro dash, so might eventually find me a dash pad for it and stuff. And like I said, I don't really have a set plan. So I was a little bit confused and couldn't really get a good idea as to how the dash should be to be proportional. I don't necessarily care about it being accurate to a real Camaro, but I just couldn't figure it out, and it's been a while since I've been in one. So I figured, what better way to figure out how one sets than sitting in a real one? So I'm sitting in my dad's 67. It's got a cover on the rest of it right now. But I brought a tape measure out here with me, and I'm going to just get some measurements, kind of see where my feeding position is, just to get an idea as to where I might want the dash. It actually, I had it too far towards me on the sim, so now I think, because I'm looking like it's way down, like almost directly above my feet. So I'm thinking I'm going to push the dash way back, bring my wheelbase way forward, and maybe even try and build a platform and actually set my monitor on the dash itself in place of the windshield. This is actually much farther away from me than I thought to accommodate for this massive steering wheel they had in the 60s. So this is pretty cool now that I had a feel for it. So nowhere near done. This is all still mock-up, but some things gotta be cleaned up. Everything's gotta be repainted. Everything's gonna be final cut. This is just a mock-up, but kind of the idea. I think it'll look pretty sweet when I'm done. Wish I had a metal console, but that's a 68 console, so. But either way, now the biggest thing I gotta figure out how to do is how I'm gonna make an actual piece come out here for the wheel to set on. If this was metal and I was better at welding, I could just easily just stub off. And that's still what I'm gonna try to do, is stub straight out, kind of like basically make a steering column, but it's gotta be able to hold the weight of the wheel. The G920 is not too heavy, but this is still wood, so I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do that. That's the biggest next piece I gotta tackle. But yeah, kind of cool. Just a little, change it up a little bit. Nice, I gotta clean it up. I think I'm gonna take some sheet metal, some race car sheet metal or something, and kind of build me a little box. And might extend this piece over, just so this is all one big piece here. It looks better. And then fill it in with some sheet metal or something, so that it's not just so open, it doesn't look so bad. But either way, little update. Wheel and dash are on. They're not quote unquote final, but they're pretty close. Kind of a little bit more bracing to do. Gonna add some metal work in, finish everything up a little bit. This is just sitting here. It's not final. It's an old top off a race car. But other than it's a little bit ugly behind the scenes, but I don't think it's too bad. I'm gonna start on the handbrake and shifter. It's almost 10 o'clock, so I'm gonna call it a night. But tomorrow, I'm gonna come out here, finish the rest of it up, get it all painted, and hopefully get it inside. Day 2 of working on the sim. Most of my projects end up turning into 2-day events because I can never like start in the morning and work all day. So this is technically day 2. It's like the evening of day 2. I did come out this morning and spray some paint on this thing so it would be dry. I took and put some flat black on it because factory Camaro dashes were flat black in the black interior cars. But I kind of want to add some spice to it, so I went on top of it and added some pearlizer. Really kind of jank-like, but hey, it's fine. So I've got some material. I'm going to try and put along the top, make it look like a dash pad since I don't have a dash pad. And then I got, the biggest thing I'll work on now is the console still yet, figure out how I'm going to place it. And I got to figure out how I'm going to set the handbrake without breaking the plastic. But either way, I think it's going to turn out pretty cool. I actually raised the dashboard a little bit. This isn't final product. I just wanted to see how it would look raised. I got to test fit the monitor, but if all works out, the bottom of the monitor should be right at the back of the dashboard. Also, I have an announcement. On behalf of Justin and I, we both have been accepted to partner up with TireStacks.com. Tire Stacks helps drifters. We're both part of their driver program this season for 2023. They offer any of the high-end tires that people like for drifting, whether it be a Kenda, Velino, GT Radial. They offer everything. They even have truck and trailer tires as well. I'm going to drop my code down below for an additional 5% off anything on their website. So they already offer discounts. They're the lowest priced, period, online. But my code will get an additional 5% off. You can get up to even 20 to 25% off tires using my code as well. So super pumped to have them on board. Like I said, they're helping both Justin and I this season, and we're super stoked about it and happy to have them on board. So we have a piece of steel that we're going to try to put under the console, and then I'm going to try and take the bottom half of the shifter off and use these bolt holes to bolt it to the plate, and then I'll use some race car body bolts and bolt the handbrake to that. Here's the piece of metal, and it's going to go inside the console from underneath and go up in here and bolt on like a plate. I couldn't find any bolts to fit in the shifter. Well, I got to looking. The factory bumper bracket bolts on the BMW, they just so happen to fit perfectly in the bolt holes of a G920 shifter. So now drift car parts are going on the simulator, and I'll just get some more bolts later. So now I'm going to take all this stuff apart and figure out how I'm going to cut a hole in the plate and bolt this to the plate so this doesn't slide off anymore, because I had a problem before on the old setup. These clamps would come loose and it would just slide right off. So I think it'd be a good plan. Then next is figuring out how I'm going to bolt the handbrake to it. Alright, plate is in. It's not the prettiest in the world, still got to paint it, but to be honest, I'm in a little bit of a hurry because it's almost 8 o'clock and I'd like to slide with my friends tonight. But handbrake's on. Had to notch the console for the handbrake. That's okay. It's bolted down. It's solid. Shifter's on. I originally had it up here. Now it's back where it's supposed to be. I'm going to take a piece of sheet metal and finish this off. Try maybe put a cup holder or something in there. And then I'll also be able to use the inside of the console lid to put stuff, so this will be sweet. This is where seat belts went in a 68. They latched down onto that when you won't use them, you'd pull them out and fancy things. But anyway, I think this is pretty sweet. Alright, final mock-up is complete. So like I said, I'm in a little bit of a hurry because I want to play a Seto with my friends tonight, but everything that's just screwed together, I'm going to run through and put bolts in real quick, finish up some more bracing back here. I'll probably do all the covering and stuff, like making a dash pad and all that stuff. I'll do that later because I can do that in the house where it's much warmer. But I'm still going to go ahead and cut me out a piece of sheet metal real quick, put here, just cover that up, clean some things up real quick, and then work on getting it inside. It all comes apart fairly easy. I can have it back apart in about 5 minutes to take it inside. And the way I built this, whenever I get a better wheelbase, better shifter, I should just be able to change the base. I should just be able to change this plate, change the pedal base, and everything be right back perfect. I couldn't do that with the way it was set up before. So I'm really happy with it. Everything's really sturdy. Everything's right in place. Should be perfect. I do need to assess this a little bit. Don't know exactly what's going on there. It is a wore out wheel, but either way, I'm happy with it. I'll post an update online, or maybe even like a short on YouTube or something once it is complete with dash pad and radio and everything. But this is the final look. I'll do one more clip of it once I get it inside, and yeah, fairly happy with it. We do. Just as an example, everything comes off in its own piece, so it can be transported, put in the house. Console's over here, still needs to be finished. Did use a piece off the original hood on my first ever late model. It had a 383 in it, and I want to do like the old school NASCAR where they had the cubic inches on the hood. That's what that's off of. And then the rest of the base, we'll pull a dash off just so it takes some weight off to try and carry it inside. Other than that, all comes apart and put it back together when I get inside. And we are together. I'm gonna clean up a couple more things. But with every great design comes a flaw. Like I said, I gotta finish all this stuff, but you know, I even took into consideration the height, so I raised the dash to help accommodate for the monitor to wheel, you know, everything made it look a little bit cooler. But something I failed to take in consideration, where I'm gonna put my mouse and keyboard. So I failed that miserably. I might make a little stand for the keyboard to go like here. That's probably where I'll sit for tonight. And luckily I can use the top of the console lid here as a mouse pad. So that'll be how I get through tonight, but oh well, nothing's perfect, but I'm really happy with it. I'll post some updates once I get it finished, and appreciate everyone watching, and I'm gonna get to shredding.